Yo, what's popping, Jimbos? Once again, it's your boy coming in hot with the T3 guide. T3 is considered by many new players the hardest role. Although I could partially agree with that, I usually say that it's the hardest role to learn, but once you get to know it, it's actually quite the opposite. Let's just get into it. Weapons that I'll be using during every T3 run are, as usual, staff for running and casting enchantments and shield set for survivability. The next weapon sets aren't as popular anywhere else, so they might be a bit difficult to obtain. During Pit's quest and killing single targets, I'll be using low requirement vampiric daggers. If you have trouble finding anyone selling them, you can craft a weaker pair from this guy. During 4 Horsemen, I'll be using a vampiric Q0 scythe. Wintergreen one should work perfectly fine as well. In addition to that, I'll be using a flatbow to pull skeletons in pits. In terms of additional equipment, I highly recommend getting a high HP headpiece. You mainly will be dealing with Skeletons of Doom, which sometimes can cause quite a bit of trouble. By replacing the Superior Expertise rune with one that gives you 10 HP, and also switching the Armor Insignia for additional 5, makes you quote unquote heal for 90 HP. Remember that after you switch the headpiece back to the normal one, you will lose the previously gained health. That's why you should do it only when you're perfectly safe. It's especially useful during glitching skellies, backside of pits, and even 4 Horseman quest. Another headpiece that might be helpful is a marksmanship one. It lets you meet the requirement for your flatbow and helps with killing distant targets without having to move into melee range. Those are the skills and attributes, 2 points in marksmanship and dagger mastery to meet the requirements for those weapons. Honor and Shadow of Haste are key skills to the T3 role. Although you can do it without them, they certainly make it easier. Thanks to the high attack speed of daggers, in combination with Honor, you're able to deal lots of damage in a fairly short time. Your every attack deals at least 15 damage just from the skill alone. Shadow of Haste is used to skip lots of unnecessary running and a safe Pits quest take. Why do people think this role is difficult? My guess would be that it requires a reactive playstyle which only comes with experience. Knowing when to do what and why and how exactly react to variables is a lot to ask for from a new player. Also, T3 is a role known for being very easy to die as at almost every part of it. First step to making yourself less potent to dying is to understand how to manage your skills and how to use them to their full advantage. Shadow Form not only lets you be untargetable by enemy spells, but also any damage taken is reduced by 5 points for every assassin enchantment on you. When you cast Shadow Form, then Shroud of Distress, you receive 5 damage reduction from Shadow Form itself and another 5 from Shroud. If you were to cast another Shroud while the previous one is still active, it will count as another enchantment for damage reduction. When the duration of the first casted Shroud ends, so does the bonus damage reduction. Whirling defense is your main source of damage. It's pretty simple how it works. You block, you deal damage, and 75% chance of that happening. Whirling block chance stacks with other skills such as mental block or more commonly around Terra's Shroud of Distress. The trick is that Shroud's block chance only works when you are below 50% HP. That way we come to a conclusion that you have a higher chance to block if both Shroud and Whirling have their effects actively in use. This leads to a total of around 93% chance to block under half HP. One of your major ways to keep yourself alive is Death's Charge. When you use it on an enemy that has more HP than you, you heal for 200 health points. As a Ranger Terra, you have exactly 755 HP without a shield set. Combining this with knowledge about block chances I talked about previously, the most efficient way would be to use DC only if you reach about 150 HP. That way, even after healing yourself, you still are below half health and gain the most advantage out of your blocks and health regen provided by Shroud. The biggest troublemakers during every T3 run will be Skeletons of Doom. The key to standing against them is to know what are their limits and how to abuse them. They only use attack monster skills, which are Flurry and Bone Spike. Both of those skills can be dodged and obstructed. They always use it in a specific order, which is Flurry, Bone Spike, then 4-second break, and then Bone Spike again and repeat. By knowing when the skelly is going to use which skill, you can use your heals accordingly. Another important fact is that they break aggro at 33% movement speed, which you obtain with the effect of BU and Cupcake. That means they won't follow you unless you walk sideways or backwards. Or to put it in other words, if you run forward, they will always go back to the spot where you aggroed them. Let's get into the explanation of the role. As T3 at the beginning of the run, your job is to provide honor for the ritualist during the spike, as it buffs his spirit rift damage. After you do that, you can run towards the exit gate. Target at T4 and hoss up the ledge only if QZ is active. If not, run around because otherwise your jump won't be off of cooldown in time. Use spots as shown in the video. Use DC to the behemoth group up the hill. After every DC you can also use hoss to skip some more distance, because it will always recharge by the time you need to use it again. Similar as T4, at this point you can use your pecons. DC to the chained soul and cast shadow form. Wait for the T4 to jump to you and start moving forward. Jump up to the Thresher and recast your shadow form. Gain aggro of the group standing on the right side of the bridge and use Shroud on Whirling to block some of their attacks. Run into the corner as shown in the video. This does two things. You move away the Threshers from your future path during the Skelly glitch, and also you make the Collector stop following the T4, which lets him have a clean bottom group kill. Here is the tricky part about the Skelly glitch. Depending on the spawn, there will be either 3 or 4 of them, including the one patrolling from backside. That particular Skelly has to be grabbed at a specific point, otherwise he won't glitch. At one time, he turns back and then starts walking towards you again. That's when you are safe to grab him and the rest of the Skellies. The sooner you use SOH, the quicker the glitch. Use it somewhere around here as shown in the video, walk sideways until you reach the ledge and hoss down. Keep the Skellies outside of your aggro bubble and manipulate them to walk around the bridge. Target the chained soul at the bottom of the bridge, hug the left wall and wait for the right timing. As soon as you see SOH is about to run out, DC to the soul and run forward. Check if all the Skellies are glitched. If yes, wait for the T4 to be done with everything besides the Terwebs and the big treasure ball. If not, let him know about it. If he's fast enough with popping, you might be able to take the quest before the Skelly reaches center and he will kill it in the safe spot. This round the T4 had some troubles, so there was nothing else for me to do other than wait. Put SOH in this spot and run up and get ready to take the quest. You can help your T4 out by bowing single targets from his location. Once he says he's ready to take the quest, do so and whirling out. Wait for him to E to you and run to backside as fast as you can. You will be facing 3 random enemies that spawn every 10 seconds. It can be either a Skelly or a white Terweb. If the Skelly spawns first or second, you will have to use a Dream Rider Stone to be able to kill him in time before the second one. In this run, it happened so that I was able to be in time to grab aggro of the additional treasure group for more whirling damage output. Usually they come there too late to be useful. It depends on how fast you take the quest. Here's when honor and daggers shine. If it happens so that your stone dies or someone else already has one up, and you still have skellies alive, there are two safe spots that you can use to hide in, one at the bottom and the other at the top. After you're done killing everything at backside, there are two things you can do. You're able to skip center completely, which makes it very convenient for the T4. You can DC up the top at any time, provided that the collector from backside is far behind you and you quickly break aggro by running forward. If you don't manage to do that, the last soul in the center will get aggro of the collector, which will result in a quest fail. That's why it's safer to just wait for it to move away. By targeting the chained soul, you can use this exact spot to host down and run below the bridge. You can also use another target to do that, but it works only with a certain angle. The second option is after last soul moves away, run to the center and wait there for the T4 to kill the last group. After that, you can jump down to any target and start running to planes. Use your jumps as efficiently as you can. Use SOH somewhere around here and without casting anything, run to the center to trigger the main patrol. Make sure that all 3 Mind Blades are popped. After that, immediately whirling out and run to the safe area around here. Cast Shroud and Dwarven Stability. Target the Dream Rider in the center and wait for him to be around 30% HP. Use Shadow Form with a staff to get the chance for it to recharge faster. If it happens, it allows you to recast it when it's convenient for you. For the glitch, I switched to a shield set, because if you use a staff and get half recharge in Shadow Form, when you aggro one of the horsemen it can cast Signet of Humility on you, which will disable your elite skill for 16 seconds. There's many ways to perform the glitch, but I'll show you the way I do it. Put SOH in this exact spot and gain aggro of the Mind Blades when they go past this point. DC to them or to a close target and run forward until one of them stops here. After that, run sideways not to lose their aggro. When your Shadow Form is about to recharge, run forward and host from a Wailing Lord if there is one. If not, just keep running and recast it. When you safely do that, let the T4 know that he can take the quest. Keep moving sideways until you reach this point. Remember to not move any further or SOH might break. Wait for the Mind Blades to settle down and whirling out to safety. Run towards the pool side, target Madruk Doom and wait for him to start moving towards you to prevent getting bad aggro. After having both horses on you, run forward to this exact spot. You can easily tell where it is by hugging the right wall. At one point the ground goes down and then up again. Stop halfway on the way up. While still having Madruk Doom targeted, look at the minimap and if you see the enemies aligned, jump in and start scything them. Use Honor only when it's about to run out, that way you spend more time dealing damage rather than casting. The only way to get below 50% HP during the 4 Horsemen quest is to have the Skelly patrol into you. It doesn't always happen right away as it did in this run. It's the fastest and also the most dangerous scenario, although as long as you use your jumps as advised previously, you should be fine. If you are using Host, target something that will make you jump into the wall, which will result in you staying in the place and keep damaging the horses, just like I did in the video. That would be it for this guide. For any more questions, feel free to ask me in game or leave a comment. Also make sure to check out Charlo's T3 guide. It's pretty outdated, but he shows all the host jump spots along with a couple of other. I'll leave the link in the description. As always, thanks for watching and see you on the next one.